First things first, play Elrond's Council, lower the threat by 3, and +1 will to Arwen. Goodness gracious, the poor girl, she's probably desperate to actually have a go at something without her dad being in her ear. So, I could play Lindir, but you know what? We're not going to. So, I'm going to play the Silver Harp for 2 onto Arwen, because this is a recent addition to my deck, and I know if it works. So just in case you're not familiar with the Silver Harp, response: after a card is discarded from your hand, exhaust the Silver Harp to return that card to your hand. So I'm going to not want to put cards back into my hand, because this quest punishes me for having cards. So I'm going to discard Lindir to give a resource to Arwen, and then I'm going to spend 1 from Mablung to give a restore the Rithendell Blade, just to make chopping up them Dunlunders a little bit easier. So chances are we're going to finish the quest this round, because there are no enemies out there. So I'm just going to send Arwen and the Gladrim Weaver, so that we can hit back at whatever comes out, or whatever is revealed by the next step of the quest deck. It is the King's Road. You've got to think that in Rohan, those King's Roads are going to be pretty accommodating to horses. It's a road. While any player has 3 or more cards in hand, the King's Road gets 3 + 3 quest points. While any player has 5 or more cards in hand, the King's Road gains. When faced with the option to travel, the players must travel to the King's Road if able. This is not going to be a problem for an Arrestor deck. So, a mighty 2 threat against 5 progress because of Elrond's Council means that we have finished this stage of the quest. And this is how they tricked you in this cycle. They made you think, man, this time thing is no problem. And then they started to introduce things that weren't just game ending if you didn't finish the time. Instead, they just recycle through. So, some pretty neat artwork. So, the Dunlending attack. After driving the wild men back from the islet, you are surprised to find King Theoden's personal advisor, Grima Wormtongue, among the men defending the fords. He tells you that he was on his way back to Isengard when he was caught in the attack. Before he can say more of his errand, the Dunlendings redouble their assault. "Save me!" Grima cries as he shrinks behind you. The life of the King's Counsellor is in your hands. When revealed, each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for 1 different Dunland enemy and adds it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. Time 2. Forced. After the last time counter is removed from this stage, each player assigns X damage amongst characters he controls, where X is the number of cards in his hand. Place 2 time counters on this stage. 14 progress required. Alright then, I'm going to take a Dunland... No, actually, do you know what? Let's have a Dunling Berserker from the discard pile come out to fight, because he will be easier to kill this turn, because even with a nice shadow card, he's not going to hurt anyone. Let's travel to the King's Road to get it out the way. 2 time counters. This is my least favourite thing about the time counter mechanic, is that you encounter this stage of the quest, and then you're going to immediately lose a time counter before you've even really managed to make any progress. So let's engage the Dunling Berserker, who's back. You killed my brother! Don't worry, we're killing you too. The Dunling Berserker attacks Mablung. Oh, shadow text. Shadow text is turning out to be pretty appropriate with this lighting. Shadow, attacking enemy gets +1 attack. If this attack destroys a character, remove 1 time counter from the current quest. And this is why sacrificial lambs stopped becoming a thing, because if you just throw them in front of these murderers, you're going to really get punished. So that's 3 attack against 4 defense. It bounces off. My army easily butchers the Dunland Berserker. And we're off. Right then, thread up to 25. 1 time counter gone. And I tell you, Arrestor would normally be laughing at that time counter getting removed, and everyone and us having to take as much damage as we have cards in our hand, because we won't have any cards in our hand. But ill tidings. I'm really going to have to think that it's meant to work the way that punishes you the most, because otherwise, I mean, it really is naff. But then again, if you did have discard, yeah, it's got to work in the punishing way. Right then, so we've got Glorfindel, Gladrim Weaver, to the sea, Wellinghall Preserver. If anyone manages to play this card and not immediately think of that rather explicit song, Fair play to you. Right then, so let's see. Have we done resources? Or is my mind going? I haven't done resources. Thank you, brain, for reminding me. Because I was like, how could Arwin have one? But we discarded. Did we discard anything? Oh, because we kept a resource on her because we played the Guardian of Rivendell. Did we? No, we played the Silver Harp. So how has she got a resource? I'm gonna presume. Yeah, no, I didn't give myself resources. Honestly, this is the downside to an Arrestor deck. Because you draw so many cards, you forget. You get so excited about that part of the game that you forget about the other bits. All right, then. So let's get to the sea. Onto Arwin. So that is one cost from Arwin. And let's play a Welling Hall Preserver from Arrestor. And let's discard Glorfindel, because we can play him later. Any cards that I discard that can have an effect from the discard pile, I'm going to, once they're no longer the top card, I'm going to put them above here so that I can see my discard pile easier. Discard that to give Arrestor another resource. In fact, before I play Glorfindel, I'm going to play my Gladron Weaver so that Lindor? It's not a chocolate. Lindy gets shuffled back in, right? Because obviously I don't want Glorfindel to get shuffled back in because he's much happier to be in the discard pile. And I'm not going to use the Silver Harp because I don't want to put Glorfindel back in my hand because I don't have any other discard abilities, and this game is going to punish me if I have cards in my hand. So, right then, cool. So the Welling Hall Preserver is going to have a snooze over here. And when he readies at the end of the round, he'll heal Quick Beam, which is neat. Right then, so questing, there is no threat here. So Arwin can go. Her two Weavers can go with her. And you know what? We're going to be a little bit bolder. Let's send Grima and let's send Quick Beam as well. Ah, the Dunland Chieftain. We avoided one of them. The big bad boy's out. So let's have a close look at this card because it is worth the reading. Some pretty badass artwork. So he's 35 engagement, so I don't have to engage him if I don't want to, but he is 3 threat and 5 attack, 3 defense and 6 hit points. I mean, he is a monster. Forced, after Dunland Chieftain engages a player, discard X cards from the top of the encounter deck, where X is the number of cards in the engaged player's hand. Once again, normally my Arrestor deck would be laughing. Put the topmost Dunland enemy discarded this way into play, engaged with that player. What fun. So he's 3 threat. Arwin is 3, so that balances out. So that's 2 from Grima, 2 from the Weavers, and 2 from Quick Beam. So that's 6 progress. 2 onto the King's Road finishes it, and 4 onto the quest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right then. Do you know what? If we're going to fight the Chieftain, let's do it now, because we do have 2 defenders if we actually do end up drawing one. So we engage the Dunland Chieftain. That puts a resource onto Mablung. We discard 1 card off the top of the deck because we have ill tidings in hand. It is an enemy. How joyful. It engages us, and we don't get Mablung resource because we're in the same phase. So this is a Dunlending Bandit, looking like a little troll under a bridge. He's 2 threat, 1 attack, 2 defense, 4 hit points. While engaged with a player, Dunlending Bandit gets +1 attack for each card in that player's hand. So he's up to 2 attack, so nothing scary, not like the Dunland Chieftain. So let's deal these bad boys some shadow cards. So we've got actual combat now that actually matters. So Mablung is at 4 defense. So chances are he won't die from this attack. Do you know what? I'm going to take... Whereas if it even gets +1, it will kill the Guardian of Rivendell. Whereas the Dunlending Bandit almost certainly won't kill the Guardian of Rivendell and won't even scratch Mablung. How much damage? So 5. So he'd need to get +3 attack to kill Mablung. I don't think there's anything in the deck that could give him that much attack. So let's take the chance. So Dunland Chieftain on Mablung. It has got Shadow Text. It gets +1 attack. Wow, and it would have removed the time counter. So thankfully, it didn't go on the Guardian Rivendell. It would have killed it and removed the time counter. That would have been bad. Instead, it's just 1 wound onto Mablung. And then the Dunlending Bandit on the Guardian of Rivendell. 2 attack, because I've got a card in my hand. No Shadow Text, so the Guardian of Rivendell is fine. All we've got left to attack with is a Restore. He's got the Rivendell Blade, so he can at least do some damage. If he attacks the Dunland Chieftain, he'll do 1 wound. If he attacks the Dunling Bandit, he'll do 2. Let's just get 2 on the Dunland Bandit so we can get him out of the way. The Dunland Chieftain, he hits hard, but his big effect is his engagement effect. So we've got past the worst of that now. And that is everything. The Welling Hall Preserver readies, which heals Quick Beam his wound. We remove the last time counter, which we have to do X damage among characters we control, equal to the number of cards we have in hand, 1. So, do you know what? Sorry, Quick Beam. That wood has just knitted up, but we're going to chuck another wound on you. And then 2 time counters go onto there. I mean, obviously this one is not going to rush us too much. We can outlast this easily. And we've got plenty of healing in the deck. Even though I feel like we probably have gone past both of the healers. And, you know, that's not stellar. Right, I'm going to start doing my thing where I order my things by their role once my ally area starts to get a bit heavier. So ones that just quest go at the front and ones that don't quest as often go at the back. So thread up by 1. And let's draw some cards. And remember that I didn't give any resources. Mablung has got money to burn. So we've got Elven Spear, Treebeard, Wandering Ent, and Lindir. Right then, so let's go for it. Let's get Treebeard into play as soon as possible. Let's burn Mablung's pocket money. So 4 to get Treebeard into play. And let's get the Wandering Ent into play for 2 of the Restores. And let's chuck an Elven Spear onto a rest. Oh, in fact, let's chuck an Elven Spear onto a Restore for nothing. And let's discard Lindir. Actually, no, let's not do it yet. Let's discard Lindir and then put him back into my hand with the Silver Heart to give another resource to a Restore. Because we can use Lindir now to power the Elven Spear. So there is actually a reason to put the card back in my hand. Cool. All right, then. We've got some major strength coming out next turn. So that's fine. So we're going to need at least 2 decent defenders. Mablung has now taken a wound. So it's not as open and shut the case for him defending the Dunland Chieftain. But then who do I... Right, well, we know Arwen's going questing. We know that the Gladrian Weavers are going questing. Greema's going questing. And you know what? I'm going to send the Welling Hall Preserver as well. Let's get the questing done and out of the way. Right then. Oh, goodness gracious. More enemies. No. So it's a Dunland Raider. 35 engagement, 3 threat, 5 attack, 3 defense, 5 hit points. I mean, that is a sturdy Raider. Forced, after the Dunland Raider engages a player, that player must deal X damage divided among characters he controls, where X equals the number of cards in his hand. Suspiciously like the time mechanic. We will not be engaging that. We'll be leaving that there for a while. So 3 balances out Arwen, who's 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 progress. Taking us up to 11 progress in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 progress. And I'll try and, whenever possible, put tokens that are in a stack as a stack of 5, just to try and make it visually a bit clearer. Okie dokie. So we're not engaging the Dunland Raider. We've got these 2 enemies here. So I feel like we took Mablung's chance last time. He's going to take at least one more wound. I'm going to discard Lindir from hand now to power up the Elven Spear because it's for this phase, and then he's out of hand in case there's some stupid gain attack equal to the number of cards you have in your hand. Right, I'm going to take a quick little peek at the discard pile and see. I don't see anything. There's quite a few +1 attacks in there, but there's not a lot of +2s. So we're going to take the risk again to try and keep... Oh, no, should we? No. The Dunland Chieftain's going to attack the Guardian of Rivendell. Oh, Dunland Berserker. Attacking enemy makes an additional attack after this one. Oish. So that is 2 wounds to the Guardian of Rivendell, and they're exhausted. So the Dunland Chieftain is either going to have to smack Mablung, or... I'm not putting the attack on a restore, so realistically, that means he's going to have to kill Quickbeam. Do you know what? I think Quickbeam might need to take one for the team here. So, Dunland Chieftain on Quickbeam, discard an attachment you control, and Quickbeam's dead. What attachment do we not overly care about? Do you know what? Let's lose the Elven Spear. It's already given me +1 attack, so I don't see any reason that would go. Not that it makes any difference, because I will only have a restore to attack, and realistically, he's just going to kill the Dunlending Bandit. So the Dunlending Bandit on Mablung, attacking enemy gets +1, that puts him on 3, Mablung, that bounces off, and a restore kills the Dunlending Bandit. I would say, oh no, that was bad, but realistically, we've got massive reinforcements coming in. So let's make sure that we know that good old Glorfindel is ready to jump out the discard pile. Right, end of the round, refresh phase. So that's 1 off there. Threat goes up to 27. Or reset here. And that makes an additional attack. Is an absolute monster of an effect. Right, Big Daddy Treebeard is ready to play. So he gets a resource, and all of these happy chaps get a resource. And let's draw some cards. And full. Right, we've got a Gondorian Shield, Henmath Rithersong, oh, thank goodness, Spear of the Citadel, and Skinbark. Right then. So first things first, play Henmath Rithersong. Right, let's see what the lay of the land is like. And let's exhaust Henmath Rithersong to see what card we're going to be drawing this turn. It is a Dunland Prowler. While any player has 3 or more cards in hand, that gains Surge. If it has 5 or more cards, it gets +1 threat. Cool, that's no problem. It's not even going to engage us, so we can play around that. Was it 1 threat? It was 1 threat. Right, okay. So option-wise, we could burn all 3 of these cards and Arwen's resources to play Glorfindel. And we could even put the Spear of the Citadel back in our hand to play it with Mablung. Or we could discard a card in order to play Skinbark. And leave off Glorfindel for a turn and get another big Ent in play. Oh my goodness, could we actually play both? We could discard Gondorian Shield to give Arwen a resource, put Gondorian Shield back in our hand, play Skinbark using Mablung's 2 and Treebeard's 1, and then discard these 2 cards and 3 of Arwen's resources to play Glorfindel. Goodness gracious, that is 2 big hitters. Let's go for it. Right then. So, discard the Spear of the Citadel, use Silverheart to put it back into my hand to give Arwen a resource. Play Skinbark using 2 of Mablung's and 1 of Treebeard's resources, and then spend 3 resources